Hello viewers, welcome back to the Moose Mobile Auto Repair channel, and today we have the 2010 Subaru Outback, and it has a 3.6 liter engine, and we are going to be replacing the oil pan because it's leaking and it's rusted out. So now we are just going to drain the oil for the time being. So I'm just going to take this out and the cap out. So as you can see, it's leaking. It's all rusted and leaking from here. So I'm just going to drain the oil now. So now we're just going to reinstall the drain plug. If you're just changing the oil, just make sure you change the drain gasket each time you change the oil. I'm just gonna reinstall this. This oil pan is going in the garbage, so we don't need to worry about it. So we are going to remove all of the bolts now. These are our 10 millimeter bolts, and they're not torqued down very tight. So I believe the torque spec is 4.7 foot-pounds. So we're just going to loosen all of them up. There's a lot of rust here, so you may have to hammer onto the socket if there's too much rust to get over on the bolt or bolts. I'm doing this manually so I don't round off the bolts. And later we are going to clean the bolts with a wire wheel afterwards. Just doing everything by hand first so I don't damage anything. So now I'm going to remove all of the bolts. So all of the bolts are removed now. So now we're going to be using a oil pan or gasket separator tool to separate the oil pan from here. So maybe we'll try some more here in the corner. This is a Lyle gasket separator tool. I'll post a link in the description. So I'm going to try to separate it now. Just trying to make some room here. So let's see. Just trying to get some room here. Somewhere here in the corner. hard to see. I'm gonna try a different corner where it's easier. I'm just trying to do this without blocking the camera. Now on service data it says to not use a screwdriver, but that's what most guys often do. But you have to be careful not to damage the aluminum surface as you are doing this. I'm pretty sure there's a better way, but this is how I'm doing it. There you go. This tool, it works like a charm. You might need to get a drain pan ready to drain the excess. You want to push against the steel pan and not against the aluminum block here. You need to wiggle it and work it through. Multiple locations, or you may have to see if you can get like carefully getting a screwdriver and hammer it down if you're able to. This tool is safe to use on oil pans, so you just probably need to try multiple times in order to free it. And sometimes if you can probably use a rubber mallet to lightly tap on the oil pan to free it up as well. Gotta get it all the way in there. Trying to hammer downwards to see if I can get the oil pan off. Just a light tap here. Now, if you don't have the gasket scraper tool, you can use like a putty knife or something. Maybe something like this. Like a pry bar of some sort without damaging the block. So, let's see if I can pry this down somehow. I'm prying down against the exhaust here, but carefully. These shields are broken anyways, so it's coming out now. Carefully pry down against the see here. So after trying to play around with it now, the pan is a little free. It's getting loose now. So I'm just gonna pry it down here. Carefully. Just hitting the drain plug to use it as a leverage to bring it down. Just to shock the pan a little bit. Just being careful on where you are prying here. Get this guy out of here. You just need to be patient and to work it through in order to separate the gasket. And so being careful, will be some leftover oil in here. There's a magnet here that you will need to transfer over to the new oil pan. So now we're gonna clean the surfaces on the block here. Clean all the sealant. So I'm just using the 3M Scotch Brite here to clean everything down. You can use a razor blade first to get the excess off. I'm probably going to grab that. So I have a razor blade. Just going to scrape off the excess. And once you get the excess material off, then you can use the Scotch Brite stuff. Also, I forgot to mention, if possible, to inspect the pickup screen if you can. But this one you can't quite see the pickup screen here. It's inside here, I believe. This one has a upper and a lower oil pan as well. So continue scraping off the material. This one has an inner piece here. I'm not sure on what you call it. It's a design that Subaru made on these ones, so you gotta get the inside piece also cleaned up too. It could be a design thing as to why they made this, so that maybe it doesn't leak as easy as other cars. I'm not sure. Then the ceiling surface is over here, so I don't think this is gonna matter too much. But try your best to clean it as good as possible. So now I'm gonna use the Scotch-Brite stuff. Scotch-Brite sandpaper is safe for aluminum. So now we clean the surfaces. We're just gonna spray the block down here on the with the brake cleaner and just do a cleanup, and then we'll proceed to show you on how to install the new oil pan. You gotta make sure you clean the individual holes. Make sure there's no dirt or debris in there. Just give it a quick wipe. And before we install a new pan, we'll give it another quick wipe. The surfaces, they must be clean 100% to the best you can. Otherwise, you are going to have a leak. Little bit gasket material here, but I don't think it's a big deal. Very thin. Gotta make sure you clean the inner surface here. So now I'm just going to clean the bolts. I already cleaned them with a wire wheel already. I try to clean the top and on the threads to get rid of the old silicone. And if you notice, there's a spot and where you can put a number 3 Phillips screwdriver. So because these don't take that much torque, or you can use a 10 millimeter screwdriver as well, and initially to tighten them up by hand once you install it on the vehicle. So I'm just gonna spray some brake cleaner just to clean any dirt that may be in there. This is what I like to do when doing oil pan jobs, because you gotta make sure that the bolts are clean. Otherwise, you could have problems. I like to put this over here and give it a few shakes to get the dirt out. Once you're done, you can place the towel here, and you can put the bolts here. So now I put the bolts aside. They're all cleaned up. This is the new oil pan here. This is a Spectra oil pan. The part number is right here. I'm just gonna give this a wipe just in case if there's any dust or debris that traveled onto here. I need to clean the magnet on the old pan and transfer it over to the new pan. Also make sure that the bolt holes and the part numbers are all the same as well. So there's the magnet here. The magnet here that will need to be cleaned up, and then you just need to place it into the new oil pan. I sprayed some brake cleaner, so I'm just using a shop towel to clean the magnet. This is a very good design by Subaru, because having this magnet is really good because it can catch contaminants. Now, I'm not sure if their a pickup screen that's in the engine is doing that job, because usually the pickup screen will pick up larger dirt and debris. So this is pretty much the same type of magnets which you will find in some transmission pans to collect any of the metal uh, particles. So once it's clean, you can place it into the oil pan. Make sure you place it in the exact position in which it was in the old oil pan. Okay, there's an old oil pan. You can see the metal here, all this gray stuff. Now on service information, it shows you on how to apply the oil pan gasket. It shows you how to apply the silicone. So you'll need to do it like this, as shown in the picture. Um, it does state how big the bead it's supposed to be. It says here, liquid gasket 5 millimeters plus or minus 1. So make sure it's within that range. It says 3 bond. I'm not using 3 bond today. I'm using the Permatex Right Stuff, the 1 minute gasket. This one doesn't need much time to cure because you can return the vehicle to service immediately. So this is good for oil pans. The instructions are in the back, so you'll need to follow the instructions. Each type of silicone will be slightly different procedures, so make sure you read the procedure in the back on how this silicone operates. Because of time constraints, I need to get this vehicle back into service as soon as possible because the customer has very limited time. So we're gonna start applying the sealer. I already did a cutout. I cut it out on like a 45-degree angle when I got this from new. So we're gonna apply the silicone carefully and slowly. You want to take your time doing this. You don't want to be in a hurry or in a rush. This is you gotta make sure that you are sealing from the inside, not from the outside. Because when you compress it, it'll just go, and then it will just move over. So make sure you wipe off any excess sealer that's inside the pan after you are done, before you do the install. And if you need to go around again and then do so, you need to add a little bit more of the sealer. You don't have that much time to apply the sealer here. You have to install this, I believe, within 5 minutes before it dries up. So I'm not the absolute best at doing this, but try your best as you can. Might need to put some more if you need to on the corners. You want to put too much. I got myself a ruler. If you're not sure on how much 5 millimeters is, you can get yourself a ruler. You need to add extra, or if you make a mistake, you can go back and add some more if you need to. think that's going to be enough. So we are going to go back outside and install this onto the vehicle. So now we're just going to give this a quick wipe and do the install. Want to be careful to not smear the oil pan here. Go very, very slowly. Using my 10 millimeter screwdriver. Being careful. Trying to get all the corners first before putting in the bolts consecutively. I'm just in a hurry because I don't want the silicone to dry up. Hopefully this does not leak afterwards. Otherwise you will need to do it all over again. Get all the bolts in before you tighten any of them up. Now, service information states that there's a sequence order, and it says to tighten them up consecutively, but I don't know, I kind of don't like that. Usually when you tighten stuff up, you do it in a crisscross fashion so that you evenly tighten up the component. You're going to torque these after, or just tighten them by hand. So the torque spec for these oil pan bolts are 4.7 foot-pounds or 56.4 inch-pounds. I'm using inch-pounds here. So for every foot-pound is 12 inch-pounds. So 4.7 times 12 is 56.4. We're just going to do 56 here. So we're just going to torque it in a crisscross fashion. Although service data says that it says something to go consecutively on one side and consecutively on the other side. So, but it's not a big deal. But you can do crisscross is okay as well to evenly distribute the torque. I'm just working a star shape pattern. These bolts do not take that much torque, so it's very easy to over tighten them, especially if you're using a cordless type of ratchet that can easily over torque these bolts, so you need to be careful. Now this vehicle can be returned to service immediately when you're using the right stuff, gasket stuff. Now I'm just having a look at the drain plug here. The new drain plug is a 22 millimeter drain plug. The Subaru is a 17. I just wanted to have a look at the drain plug for 1 minute, see what kind of gasket it has on it. There will be a little bit of oil, I think, coming out, but not too much. There's nothing new. Just having a look at the drain plug here. I'm going to reinstall it now. They left some marks here on the plug on where it lines up. There's a blue mark. I don't know if you guys can see that here. So they purposely put a blue mark so where it lines up, and that's where you are going to stop the new oil pan. And so now we're just gonna remove the oil filter. I'm gonna clean the surface here on the oil filter housing. So you want to clean the surface here after you have removed the oil filter. I'm using the Purolator Tech 4615 filter. It's specifically for Subarus. I believe they have a special bypass valve here specifically for Subarus. So it's aftermarket, but it works okay for Subaru vehicles. This part number is 4615. 4612 will also work, but this one is application specific. I'm going to tighten this up. After I'm done everything and torquing the oil pan bolts, then I'm going to wash everything down here. So now I'm just going to wash down the area here, oil filter housing area. Get rid of all the oil. There's a few more services that I still need to do on this vehicle. Just excess silicone here, just won't do any harm. Just going to wipe all of that down. It says you can return the vehicle to service as soon as you're done this job. That's the good part about using this stuff. And after later on, we're gonna go for a road test to make sure there's no leaks, and then you should be all good to go after that. So we're gonna add oil to this. Right now I have 4.5. Right now, this engine takes about between 7 and 8 liters. It's going to vary. And I've seen a lot of people, they underfill this engine because this engine takes a lot of oil. So I'm probably just gonna put 7.5 for now. And we did have the oil pan off, so it might be a little bit more. I'm going to wipe the oil cap a little bit. Install the oil cap. The vehicle is not on a level surface at the moment, but I wanted to check for leaks just to make sure that everything is sealed properly. Now, on some vehicles that have a different design oil pan, you may have to disable either the fuel or the ignition system, or just unplug the crankshaft position sensor to prevent the vehicle from starting, because the engine hasn't had oil in the system, so it's gonna take some time to build up the oil pressure. So on some vehicles you may have to disable either the fuel or the ignition system, so you can prime the engine over. Otherwise it's gonna start making a knocking noise, either a knocking or a pinging noise. Some oil pans, they have two separate levels on them, so it may take some time for the pickup screen to transfer the oil and everything. But I think on this vehicle it should probably be okay. You probably don't need to do that. So we are going to start the vehicle now. So now you want to double check to see if there's any leaks. So now I double checked for leaks. Everything seems to be okay. After I bring the vehicle down, I will double check the level, make sure it's okay, and then I'll go for a road test and then come back just to double check to make sure that the oil pan is not leaking. And then that's it. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please don't forget to give it a like, and please consider subscribing to my channel if you're not already a subscriber, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good day and take care.